What is going on, guys? Money Webby here, back again on Friday. We got a 7-game slate, lucky number 7 for you, and it's going to be a good one. I got it broken down for you position by position with some of my favorite guys at some of the spots, 2 of my favorite pitchers, so you can fill that out pretty easily. Then 3 of my favorite bats to make a little core 5 for you. Then a great value play at only 3,100 into tonight's slate with a team that's implied 4.9 runs, way too cheap of a cost. So drop a like in the video before we get going. 100 plus likes, I would greatly appreciate that. Let's just hop into it. My first guy, I'm going to be paying up for pitchers on this slate. There's 2 guys that really stood out to me that have tremendous upside in the slate. First of all, Lance McCullers. I think he's too good to avoid. You know, I always love to pay up for pitchers in the right spots where they have tremendous upside because, like I'll mention, every single night. Pitchers, they're just a lot safer. These studs, a lot better chance of them getting their upside and reaching that because hitters, like I mentioned, any night they can have a struggling game, but stud pitchers, most of the time they're going to return the value, especially in great spots like this against San Diego. It's just too good of a matchup. McCullers, we know he's one of the best strikeout pitchers in the league. Got 10 strikeouts against Texas. He didn't even pitch that great besides the strikeouts. But when you have that strikeout upside, it makes your upside, you're just like DraftKings scoring upside that's that much greater. You only won 5.1 innings and 29 DraftKings points. They definitely should be in line for the win here going against San Diego. Heavy favorites. And like I said, you can get a lot of strikeouts. The Padres, they strike out a lot. And another thing on top of that, McCullers has a pretty big home-away splits. He was absolutely dominant at home last year, a 29% K rate, pretty sizably up compared on the road. I believe it was only 22% on the road, and the batting average is way down here at home, only a 221 batting average against on a small, very small sample size against the San Diego lineup, but he has 8 strikeouts on only 19 plate appearances. So this guy has tremendous upside. I think he can go deeper in this game, probably around 7 innings I could see, and honestly could get 10 plus strikeouts again in this game. So 12,300, not too concerned about the price considering his the upside to go for 30 plus DraftKings points in this game. So I'm going to go ahead and lock him in there. And for my second guy, another young stud, Louie Castillo here at 8,700. He's another tremendous strikeout guy. His K rate is absolutely off the charts. Last year, his K rate was 27%, one of the best K rates in the league. Another Pittsburgh lineup here that isn't great. Have some guys that can strike out a lot here, and he has a small sample size against Pittsburgh as well. They're currently 3 for 26 against him, so a very low batting average, and he has 10 strikeouts in those 27 plate appearances. And he has a park upgrade here, going to Pittsburgh, a pretty damn good pitcher's park. He faces same exact team for the most part, except the new additions to Pittsburgh, which is Corey Dickerson, I think, is their only addition to the lineup. He went 7 innings against this lineup, 9 strikeouts, and 1 earned run, and that 1 earned run was a home run to the Pirates pitcher, Garrett Cole. So he was absolutely dominant in this game against this same kind of lineup. That was kind of the BVP I was mentioning in the beginning, but just to put it in that start perspective, 7 innings and 9 strikeouts is a very dominant performance here. So at 8,700, a solid price tag, a guy that has tremendous upside. He struggled in his first start, but that was against Washington, a very dominant lineup. Pittsburgh not nearly as dominant, and he has a good pitcher's park here in Pittsburgh as well. It's pretty cold there, so not ideal hitting conditions. So Louie Castillo, nice spot here. And Pittsburgh struggled a decent amount against Homer Bailey. They weren't crushing the ball like I suspected as much. A much better pitcher here in Castillo, so lock him in there. So those are the 2 guys for pitching. Still leaves you with 3,600 remaining per player. And honestly, McCullers could go for 30 plus, and I think Castillo could go for 20 plus pretty easily in both those spots. Both those guys could be in line for the win. I think McCullers is almost nearly a lock to get the win in that game. And we're going to go a heavy bat as well. There's just so much value on the slate. I mean, you don't have to pay up for Judge with these 2 guys, but Judge just seems like a slam dunk pick at the moment. I mean, like I mentioned before, hitters can always just blow up in your face. They always can have that off night, especially if these power bats kind of get walked or intentionally walked some of these times. But Aaron Judge, the BVP in the history against these right-handed pitchers, is just way too good to ignore. At 5,300, the price honestly isn't that insane considering what he's working here against Kevin Gausman. Small sample size, but absolutely insane numbers. 6 for 12 with a double and 3 home runs already against this guy. So he definitely has his number. Kevin Gausman probably having a nightmare of Aaron Judge right now. And Kevin Gausman, a guy that has some reverse splits. He is not great against left-handed batters, and he's not great against right-handed batters. So that kind of shows you it's kind of favoring Judge even more than those lefty batters, considering normally it's the other way around. They're normally worse against lefties than righties, but he's pretty bad against both. And Aaron Judge, he's home against a right-handed pitcher. That's normally a recipe for a home run. His ISO was a 455 ISO last year, home versus right-handed pitchers. So absolutely murdering the ball here in New York. It's pretty much like a Little League park, tiny ballpark. He has 2 home runs in his last 2 games at home. If you look at this right here, 14 and 20 drafting points. So I think he can have a big game here, get another home run, and maybe even some more on top of that. So 5,300, Aaron Judge, why not? Let's lock him in there. And for my second guy, Hernandez, another guy, tremendous splits going against the left-handed pitchers. He's pretty much like a left-handed pitcher specialist. They only play him against lefties for the most part. So if with that considered, like he's going against the lefty, you're going to be like, all right, I'll hear you out here. Money Webby. What else you got? Well, he's going against Derek Holland, a left-handed pitcher who's pretty much the worst left-handed pitcher in the league against right-handed batters. That sounds pretty good. That'll make me want to play him. He also had a double against Derek Holland early this year, so he has an extra base potential. So now you're probably like, all right, Hernandez, a pretty damn good play. If you look at the numbers even further against Derek Holland, he allowed 2.26 home runs per 9 to right-handed batters last year and a 41% hard hit rate. So he was absolutely getting crushed against right-handed batters last year. The one thing working in his favor that he does have a big park upgrade here compared to what he was working with last year in San Fran here. But the ballpark isn't going to be able to keep in like a double or extra base hit against Hernandez here. So I think he can get a few doubles, maybe even hit one out of the park if he really gets a hold of one against Derek Holland, and is a cheap price at only $3,500. He'll probably be up in that top 5 of the order as well. Because against the lefties, they normally have him up pretty high. I think you batted 4th last game against Derek Holland, so a great price here. This same exact game, like matchup against Derek Holland against San Fran. This was the game right here, I believe, where he got 14 drafting points, and he got that double. Actually, it might have been this one. One of these 2 games, 14 or 9 drafting points. Still pretty damn solid if he has one of those games. Against Derek Holland, only $3,500. So we're going to go ahead and lock him in there as a nice little price tag. And for my third guy, Jonathan Schoop, however you pronounce it, at $3,600. Another guy going against a lefty with great splits against the lefties, and they're playing in New York, like I said, like a Little League ballpark. I think I might be able to get a hold of one and hit a home run in this ballpark. And you know that CC Sabathia, he's a pretty good pitcher, but any given night, I feel like some nights he's coming out there like hungover and just like forgets how to pitch. Then other nights he's just like dominant and you just can't get a hit off him. But I think Jonathan Schoop can get a hold of one here in New York. Like I said, great splits against left-handed pitchers. I believe his ISO is like a 290 against lefties, and his WOBA is almost a 400 WOBA against lefties. And only 3,600. Another guy that's going to be in that meat of the order. He has a great start to the year so far. Last game against New York, 1 for 4 with a run, and he went absolutely insane. He went 3 for 5 and hit a home run off Justin Verlander, so that should give him some confidence moving forward to get a hold of the Cy Young from last year. So Jonathan Schoop, or Scope, or however you pronounce his name, all I know is that he's Mr. Value. All right, that was kind of stupid, but Jonathan Scope, lock him in here, and that kind of gets you your core batters and hitters. Core batters and pitchers for tonight. McCullers, Castillo, Schoop, however you want to pronounce it. He's going to return some value. Aaron Judge and Kiki Hernandez. And for my extreme value guy of the night, it's going to be the guy that's just Mr. Hits. He's approaching that record for hits as well. Maybe a little extra motivation there. But at 3,100, believe he's going to be in the cleanup spot here tonight. I'm not sure what happened with this price. Maybe because he's kind of off to a slow start. But we're talking about Texas. They're hitting in Texas. If you look at the weather, the hitting condition seems absolutely amazing. It was pretty humid. It looked pretty temperature is pretty high, so wind blowing to the outfield. So Adrian Beltre, he's going to feel just at home here. Pristine hitting conditions, and he's going against Marco Estrada as well, who has a reverse split. He's actually a right-handed pitcher who's much worse against right-handed batters for the most part. The Rangers, they're implied 4.92 runs, so Beltre could have some RBI opportunities there. At only 3,100, doesn't need to do much to return value. If he gets like a double with 2 RBIs, he's pretty much already returning value there. So if he just gets a hold of one against Estrada, and Estrada, he honestly could blow up here against this Texas lineup. They're very hot and cold, and with great hitting conditions here at Texas, I feel like they're much better here hitting at home. Don't have any numbers to back that up, but I feel like Texas bats, for whatever reason, much better at home, probably because it's a hitter's park, and even on top of that, that good hitting conditions. So Estrada could get pushed out of this game early, and I know that Toronto's bullpen isn't that great as well, so Beltre can have a huge night, only 3,100. The Texas Rangers lineup is definitely a lineup you can stack up tonight at a cheap price, so keep that in mind for tonight. But Beltre, lock him in there. So that is it. Gets you up to 3,300 remaining per player. Still doable. I mean, there's still like some punt plays. At catcher, you pretty much can punt every single night. Like some of these guys are around like high 2,000. So say we throw in, I don't know, like one of these random guys that has a good matchup. Not sure if anyone right now. I didn't really look at catcher that far. But let's say you throw in Austin Hedges, and actually he's going against McCullers. That's not very smart. Say you throw in like Tucker Barnhart. That gets you up to 3,500 remaining per player, and there's a lot of value on the slate, like I mentioned before. Like those outfielders for Texas, like Shin Chu. Chu is a guy that's been lighting it up, and he has some potential doing 3,400, so it's still easily doable. But if you want to go a little bit more balanced, then you don't have to pay for Aaron Judge. There's other elite batters on the slate a little bit cheaper. I was kind of mad that Adrian Beltre is only third place eligible. That's the kind of thing about baseball, is I really like Josh Donaldson there at 4,800. But with Beltre, you can't go both. Wish you could, but we'll live with it here. Let's have a good night, guys. That is it for the video. Go ahead and drop a like on the video if you did. I would greatly appreciate that. 100 plus likes if we can. I appreciate all the support, guys, so far that you have shown me. It really helps me out to try to grow this YouTube channel the best of my ability and really help you out. I love when the plays do well and kind of benefit you guys. So it's great to see that. And you can follow me on Twitter at MoneyWebby for any other questions or anything like that. I try to answer everything I can to the best of my ability and give you guys the best advice. So good luck tonight, guys. And you also can subscribe to the channel to get these plays every single night here. You can hit that bell icon to get alerted every time I upload. I don't want to miss out on these videos. Some great value calls and stuff like that. Some good pitching options. Normally, I'm pretty good with pitching, knock on wood. Last night was a little bit disappointing with Wainwright. He was not doing that bad, but he just had so many pitches to the first 3 innings. They had to pull him pretty early. Robbie Ray did his thing. If you went Lester and Robbie Ray, that was probably looking pretty good. I was originally going to recommend that, but I didn't want to go like all these super, super cheap guys in my core. But that is it for the video, guys. Good luck tonight on this Friday night. Enjoy your Friday, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow.